Good morning, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 in the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well. It is early this morning. I wanted to kind of do a video before I had a chance to get the day rolling. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are on your purpose. Hope you guys are kind of filling the purpose that God intended. And I think that's really important. So a lot of great comments again, guys. I'm going to try to catch up with some of these again. Eduardo, thank you again for a comment. I'm going to actually kind of talk about that a little bit today in our video. John, also thank you. He asked me a question about Vigor Warriors 1. The story behind that one basically is just that I did a couple videos to start with and didn't like them too much. And I was off my computer, which I was doing on my computer. And so I kind of switched roles back and I went to my phone. So eventually I'll go back to a computer and kind of load them again. I'm just concerned that I don't get a chance to, kind of put them all together all the time and get them quality. And so I kind of went away from the computer because the computer wasn't working too well after a couple of them. And it broke down on me. So that's kind of why no other videos besides that. And now we're at Vigor Warriors 2. I've been there for a while. So we're good. Thank you for the question. And thank you for the great comments. I appreciate all of that. Money Masuro, number 7. I am going to talk about a bunch of things that you asked about with diets and different things like that. So we'll talk about those next week, or if I get a chance over the weekend to do it as well. So today's topic, my friends, Eduardo once again had a lot of great comments. He sent me a message and indicated a lot about his feelings about what's happening around us and how it affects us on semen retention. So let's go back to this again. And I'm not sure what I'm going to title this one. I guess I'm going to kind of wait until I kind of get inspiration on this as we go through. But the thing is that I think Eduardo makes a good point. He's actually asking what is the reason behind all these things in our society. Now he's talking about the pornography. He's talking about the imaging, all the high emphasis on sex and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of that is really more of a case of, in my opinion at least, of making you weaker. And I think that's one of the key things that we have to look at in our society. In order for societies to flourish, in order for societies to really be able to be strong, they need to have soldiers and warriors to protect the community. And this is what happened with the Roman Empire. And when you look at empires that strengthen themselves, and they get stronger and stronger all the time, it's really because of the support, the defense that they have around them. People feel secure if they have people protecting them. And this is what happens, especially in the case of women. They feel very secure if you're there protecting them as a male. Now that's been around for thousands of ages. And when you look at the Bible, when you look at things, you realize that obviously men have been given that sort of strength by God to use it for means of positive good for people to build things. You look at a lot of things that have been built around us. All this is hardworking, people, and a lot of them are men over the years have built things, and so their strength allows them to do that. Our strength allows them to us to build that. We also have kind of an aggression with us that is needed in order to fight, in order to protect people. Now, I saw that when I played football. I may act differently at times, but down deep, I have that beast inside of me, like all of you have your beast inside of you. And the thing about it is that you have to let that beast go. And I've seen many videos on this, but I kind of want to talk in terms of what Eduardo's talking about. And he believes that a lot of these things in society, even though they may be directly or indirectly done, they lead to the purpose of trying to demasculate the male, because they don't want people strong. They don't want strong males. Why? Well, you can kind of venture a lot of guesses on that. The United States becomes weaker, and they can be easily taken over if you think logically about it. And also, roles of men and women have changed. There's a lot of women out there, especially in the movements we've had over the last 50, 60 years, who are not happy with men, or they've been upset with men. Then they can go ahead and use this and basically kind of find weaker men to be able to to handle better than the other men that they had trouble with. And so a lot of bad experiences lead to people being angry and a lot of these type of things, and revengeful and things like that. So when you look at all this, you're really kind of saying to yourself, okay, there is indirect types of things happening here that affect the males especially. And a lot of that comes back down to making males weaker and not stronger. Now, what we have to realize is this is happening around us. The biggest thing that I've seen is just educating people, getting them to know what's really going on. And if you look at this type of thing, you realize that any kind of time you look at something long enough, you're going to see the images of that thing in your mind over and over again. And that's going to lead you to certain behaviors. And so we look at the images that you see that you're looking at all the time, that's allowing you to release energy. You see that as something that is just something that's natural. When in fact, in certain periods of time, it wasn't natural at all. It was something that really was kind of downplayed, and it actually, looked upon as a sin that it is in many regards. Because the idea is that you're not supposed to be using your body for just pleasurable activities. Now, there's nothing wrong, and God wants you to have pleasure, especially with the one person that you have. But in my mind, when you look at this, to go ahead and exert your energy and do that kind of stuff, what is the purpose of what you're doing here? Your purpose is not to, create the pyramids. Your purpose is not to create buildings or to create something in our society. Your purpose is just to release energy, which is one of the reasons why we're struggling in the workplace, and we're struggling in lots of different areas, because people don't have that. And men, I'm going to direct this towards men. Men just don't have the strength and the fortitude and the willingness to do that. And I think this is where we talk about the beast coming from within. You're basically needing to come out and become that beast again. And a lot of people don't know how to do that because they haven't been really born with that or socialized with that, or they don't really have the idea of that this is allowed. In many cases, they're afraid to do that because of the ramifications in this world that we're living in, with all kinds of political types of correctness and things like that. That a lot of that stuff is really BS. There's nothing wrong with making sure you treat people well. I mean, I believe in loving your neighbor and all. Treating people the golden rule. That's just kind of a given. You don't just purposely try to abuse people. But on the other hand, you're not going to stop from being who you are because of that. And there's no reason why you shouldn't be that warrior is. Now, I go back to that analogy we talked about a long time ago, and that's that Beauty and the Beast. And the Beauty and the Beast basically is a great analogy for the way men and women behave towards each other. A lot of times that the woman, it may seem like that she is attracted to that bad boy. But what down deep I believe is really happening is that they are attracted, but they're attracted in a way in which they will try to soothe that beast. And the beast, the more the beast is the beast, the more they become attracted to some people. And I think this is where the interesting, ironic type of thing is. When you try to understand this in the course of what happens, it would make no sense for someone who is a beautiful young lady to all of a sudden be wrapped around this person who's going to prison all the time. However, once again, what they're trying to do is kind of soothe that beast. Whether they know this or not, I believe this is what's happening. On the other hand, the beast, if the beast is no longer the beast, and the beast doesn't have to be soothed or to try to look at the beast, then all of a sudden, this person, the woman, has a challenge. And women like challenges, and so all of a sudden now they're trying to do what they can to get you to become that soothing situation again. And if you're not the beast, they get frustrated and upset. And if you are the beast and they're not succeeding, well, then they're the ones that are coming after you, and and this is why you get the attention you do. They see that energy. The energy inside of you is a big part of the beast, because the nutrients and things you keep with semen retention, you're basically becoming that beast every day. I mean, if you see a picture of me, a few years ago, you'll realize that, and even at the beginning of this, I think when I didn't shave, when I shaved, I mean, you'd see a big difference because of just the personality and things that you have when you're acting differently. Now, all of a sudden, I realize the mistakes I have made over the years with this, and I realize that you have to be this beast. That doesn't mean you have to go around devouring people and all kinds of things like that, but you have that mentality that you are strong and that no one's going to mess with you, and no one's basically going to, kind of screw around with you, and that basically you're going to go after what you want to get, and you're going to keep going after it until you get it. These are the types of things that make you strong as a beast, and obviously those are the things that allow people to become attracted to you. And so when you see all this, you're basically saying, okay, this is really the way I should be, and this is the way all males should be. But in our society, because I believe there's a concerted effort, in many regards, to kind of demasculate the male for many reasons, not only to sell products, but to make this world around us weaker, and that women especially have felt that if this happened, then they can go ahead and soothe that beast. But if you don't have the beast to soothe with at the beginning, they get very frustrated. And this is the reason why a lot of women who should have no trouble finding a man, especially in their 20s, struggle so much. And they're struggling more because men are walking away now. But the idea is that they're basically are the ones who kind of put themselves in a hole because of all these movements, because they wanted to have weaker males. They didn't want the beast. They didn't want the people of beast. And obviously there's a difference between abuse and what we're talking about here. But I'm not talking about abuse. I'm talking about the beast. And if you have the beast that's sitting out there, women really want that beast because they want to soothe the beast. If there's no beast, then all of a sudden they don't need to, they got to find another male. And it's harder and harder for them to find that male. So that's one of the reasons why you'll find attraction, especially if you're that 1% of us who basically are holding steady. And I think I'm like 86 days or whatever it might be, getting close to 900 days. In the idea of trying to look at what is my true nature. And my true nature is being one of a beast. This is why you see a lot of people changing, because down deep they realize that they are the beast. And I keep saying that because that's kind of the reason why we're kind of talking about retention in the first place. You become a lot more natural. You become the person that God wants you to become, and you become the person who women want you to become. And so they admire that, they look up to you, they sense that, and no matter who meets you, you'll get a greeting. Now, there's going to be people who not like you, of course, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on a different one. But, there are people who are going to be angry with you because you're doing this. And they sense that, and they're going to react to you not in a positive way. And some people will just ignore it, especially if they have different agendas, and, they're not going to recognize that energy. But regardless of that, it's there. And you'll get enough attention every day that you'll see